The Supreme Court hearing oral arguments today on President Trump's executive order, which he would want the ending of birthright citizenship for children of undocumented immigrants. It is testing the 14th Amendment's citizenship clause. The decision, obviously a major one, could reshape America. And the president spoke about the issue before he attended today's hearing in person. Listen.
Our country is being scammed. We're getting all of these people. They're selling the rights to them. People are making a big living, getting hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars from bringing people in and saying, congratulations, your whole family is going to be a citizen of the United States of America. That's not what it was for.
I'm pleased to bring in right now Republican Congressman from the state of California, Tom McClintock. He's the chairman of the Immigration Subcommittee, as well as a member on the House Judiciary and House Budget Committee. Sir, pleasure to have you today on such a historic day. President Trump putting this out on Truth Social, saying that we are the only country in the world stupid enough to allow birthright citizenship. We know where he stands. We don't know where the Supreme Court will stand, though, unfortunately.
Well, and he's right. If the 14th Amendment said all persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States, that would very clearly confer birthright citizenship. But that's not what it says. It says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. So the question is, what does that mean? We know that it means the children of slaves are citizens. That was its obvious purpose, the plain language of the amendment. We know from the congressional debate that it was understood by its authors to exclude foreign nationals who are merely passing through our country. So the question before the court, and the question of our time, is whether those who have illegally entered our country in defiance of our laws and who are subject to deportation under our laws and are clearly under the jurisdiction of their own country, can they be considered, having accepted the jurisdiction of our laws, that their very presence here defies?
You know, well obviously, in a state like California, too, where you've seen people just cross over the border, and that's sort of what President Trump had talked about, too. And they, even in oral arguments, talked about in China having, you know, tourism to come here and have your child in the United States. So major abuses. We're going to follow this. I mentioned you are the chairman of the Immigration Subcommittee in the House, sir. You have this new bill. It's called Shutdown Sanctuary Policies Act. Basically, law enforcement funding gets withdrawn to places that cooperate. Talk to us about the importance of this. We're looking at a map here of how many sanctuary cities are putting Americans behind illegals, and it is costing people their lives in some places.
Yeah, yes, it is. And we have to understand what sanctuary laws do. They specifically protect criminal illegal aliens from being deported. Instead of turning over prisoners that are in their custody to ICE for deportation, these sanctuary jurisdictions instead release them back into our communities. And you've read about the countless tragedies that have resulted. Every sheriff that I've talked with in my district desperately wants to cooperate with ICE to get these criminals out of their communities, but they're forbidden by California state law from doing so. So the bill I've introduced, and it's now passed the House Judiciary Committee, H.R. 7640, that changes the game. It preempts sanctuary laws that forbid law enforcement officers from cooperating with federal immigration authorities. It allows local jurisdictions to enter into agreements directly with the federal government to enforce immigration law. It protects law enforcement officers who cooperate with ICE from being sued or fined for upholding the law. It allows victims of criminal illegals who are released by sanctuary jurisdictions to sue them for damages caused by these releases. And finally, it takes the federal law enforcement funds away from sanctuary jurisdictions that refuse to enforce federal law and gives them instead to those jurisdictions that are actually enforcing federal law.
It's a shame it's going to come down to that, really saying you're going to lose your money and you might be exposed to litigation. But I guess that is where we are with the radical left here. Finally, all this hinges with the midterms, too. If they get control, there's some pretty concerning reports coming in. Nancy Pelosi wouldn't say if she'd impeach President Trump, but a report in Axios says Democrats have a post-midterm hit list. They plan to subpoena Trump-linked law firms, businesses, CEO, and donors. We just lived through such a volatile election lawfare. Congressman McClintock, your final thoughts here on the midterms, the messaging, and your message to Americans today.
Well, of course they'll impeach him time after time on the same made-up pretext they did during his first administration. But that doesn't mean that's all they're going to do. They've made it crystal clear that their agenda includes reopening the border by defunding ICE and CBP, raising taxes, as they're attempting to do wherever they've won elections recently. Look at New York, Virginia, Washington State. But I don't think they're going to get the chance. I think by summer, Iran's going to be behind us, gas prices will plummet, and the big, beautiful bill would be producing the kind of explosive growth that we saw after the Reagan tax cuts. And at that point, I think the midterms will be decided by two questions. Are you better off today than you were 2 years ago? And do you really want to let the Democrats reopen our borders?
Yeah, it's where we are right now. Obviously, a lot of time and that big, beautiful bill with the benefits still to come. Congressman McClintock, thank you so much. It's good to have you today, sir. I appreciate you spelling out some of the things with your bill as well. Hope you come back.
Great to be with you.